All right. Well, so we got a couple people joining today. Um, if it's your first time, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Be sure to introduce yourself in the chat and make sure you hit two panelists and attendees, and that way everyone can see. We'd love to know who you are, where you're from, what you do, anything you're working on lately, or what you're hoping to learn today. We'll get started in about 3 or 4 minutes. Welcome everyone. If you're just joining us, welcome. Be sure to go into the chat and say who you are, what you do, where you're from, what you're hoping to learn today, or something cool that you're working on lately. Love to hear about it. And be sure to select share with panelists and attendees so that everyone can see the conversation. We'll get started in about 2 minutes here. All right, just gonna dim down this music here. I think we're gonna get started. All right, welcome everyone. Happy to have you today. I'm super excited for me and Sam to share our expertise on creating landing pages that sell with the power of Webflow. So if this is your first time and you're just hopping in, make sure you say hello and introduce yourself in the chat. We'd love to get to know you better. Make sure you share it to panelists and all attendees so that everyone can see. Otherwise, we just see it. We'd love to have a little bit of conversation happening in the chat today. As a reminder, the presentation will be recorded and uploaded to our YouTube channel, so be sure to check out our channel, subscribe, check out our other content. We have some stuff on Figma, some stuff on React, some stuff on talking to customers, wireframing, all sorts of good stuff for product teams. So be sure to check that out. If you have a question today, make sure you submit yours in the Q&A panel so we can better manage the questions. If they're in the chat, we'll try to catch them, but try to put them in the Q&A panel if you're here on Zoom. And if you have any questions after today, feel free to email me at jacob@headway.io. Today's presentation is brought to you by Headway. It's where Sam and I are from. We work there together. Headway launches and grows new digital products with less risk. So we build apps and software through business and product strategy, design, and software development. We like to work with startups that are looking to launch new products. So you have an idea and want to bring it to market, we can help you with strategy, design, and development, to launch it. And we also work with corporations that want to innovate. Say you want to improve a process within your organization with software, create a digital mindset across your company, or maybe find new ways to generate revenue streams within your business with software. We'd love to help you out. So brief intro about me. My name's Jacob Miller. I'm the brand and marketing manager at Headway. My history is around marketing strategy and creating content, video production, photography, writing. I'm from De Pere, Wisconsin, but I grew up in Upper Michigan. I've been with Headway since 2017. And a fun fact about me, I was once a metal band vocalist. A lot of growls and stuff, not necessarily, couldn't always understand what I was saying, but I was yelling a lot of things for a while. So that's enough about me.
Cool. Hey, everyone. I'm Sam. I'm a designer at Headway. I work on all the marketing side and then also in product design as well. From Marinette, which is where I currently live, just north of Green Bay in Wisconsin. I've also been with Headway since 2017. And just an interesting fact about me is I started my design career freelancing while I was active duty in the Coast Guard. So kind of a unique start, but that's me.
Awesome. Thanks, Sam. All right, just a brief overview of what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about creating clarity, focusing on problems and people on your landing page. What are the elements you can use to create connections? How do you set up mockups and wireframes and designs to kind of plan out your landing page? What is it like building in Webflow? What is Webflow? What can Webflow do? Are there other options, but what can Webflow do and how can you make it happen? How do you go about testing landing pages? What does that look like? How do you challenge your assumption about the messaging that you've created? And then what kind of results and analysis can you get to make better decisions to improve those landing pages? We'll share some tools and resources to get deeper insights and inspiration from some cool places across the web. And then of course, we'll end with questions because we're here to help. And before we jump in, if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe to our channel to get updated on future content like this. And if you're tuned in on Zoom, be sure to connect with us on your favorite social platform. All right, so this first section I want to talk about is just creating clarity on the landing page so you can get better results. And a lot of it's going to be focused around problems and people. And before we kind of jump into what all those elements can be, we want to talk about how do people read websites. People, don't really read them. They scan them. You'll probably read your whole site as you're laying it out and writing all the copy because it's it's important to write it all and have good grammar and all that stuff. But for the most part, people don't read them. They're just slowly scanning them. They're looking at headers, stuff like that. So there's this idea of passing the grunt test. Do they understand the value it provides in 5 seconds? Can they quickly just say, oh, what's in it for me? Oh, this is for me. Like, oh, I have that problem. They can quickly relate to it and understand what you offer. So what you can do that is using section headers and just clear copy in larger text areas. So that's what headers are. But there's also obviously no silver bullets with this, but just starting with best practices and make sure you're testing ideas along the way to see how people react to the layouts that you create. So here's a couple of things about crafting a clear message. Making sure you say, what do you offer? What specific problem do you solve? And how do you make it happen? Like, how do you clearly say that to your audience or the person that's visiting the page? Who is it for? Who benefits specifically from the problem the most? And who's your best customer? Sometimes it's easy to want to say, oh, well, we actually help a lot of different people or we help a lot of different companies. But it's better to be more focused. And we're actually learning this ourselves, even at Headway, as we work with startups and corporations. We're learning to create separate messaging for each of those type of clients. And we could even get more specific on industry if we wanted to. But it's just something to remember is being more specific is always better. And then the final part is how do they get it? There should be a clear way for someone to get access to your product or to understand how they can get involved if the product doesn't exist yet. So let's cover the elements to start creating those connections. The first part is the header. It's like the top of the website. focusing on the desired outcome. Like I said, the grunt test, like in 5 seconds, does someone clearly understand what you offer them? What problem do you solve? Who is it for? And how do they get it? That should be visible within the first part of your website as soon as they land. Another piece that you can talk about is the stakes. So as people are scrolling down, these are other sections that you can start to talk about. What pain will happen if they don't buy, oh, stop wasting money on this, or stop wasting time on that, or never let your passwords get stolen again, or your credit card information get stolen again. These are all things what don't you want to happen to yourself, or what do your customers don't want to happen to themselves? The whole idea is don't let this happen to you. So that's another section you can add on your page. The other thing is value proposition. What are kind of the core benefits that your product offers them? A lot of times it can be easy to get stuck into features that you have, and features are kind of technically what does your product do, the tools within it, but thinking about how does it benefit their life? How does that feature impact their life and make it better? What do they actually care about? Another element you can use is evidence. Why should they believe you? One way to do that is with testimonials, with case studies, having logos of customers. And if you have a landing page where you don't have a product launched yet, maybe you don't have customers, you don't have any of these things, you can start to test these ideas with people that are maybe testing out your product, or maybe you have a service that you're offering that isn't a product yet, but you have customers that are with you and you're offering it through an MVP style thing. That's still a good way to get testimonials about maybe you as a person, you're trying to turn yourself or what you offer, your service as a product. For pricing, this may or may not be applicable. You might only have one price, but if you have pricing options, show them the options if they're applicable. It helps them understand kind of where they fit in. Oh, if it's maybe there's a free tier, maybe there's a beginning tier, or a starter tier, and then there's a premium tier or an enterprise tier. Thinking about the pricing and how people can quickly say, oh, I can or can't afford this. And we'll talk about pricing stuff later. Another section you can use on your landing page is what's the plan? What are the steps to successful outcomes? I have a couple examples after this slide, but it's a 3 to 5 step process that's really clear, and it helps simplify complex products or ideas. So a lot of times you might have a tool that you created that does a lot of things. So how do you clearly state how someone can get started to use your tool and what outcomes happen? This first example I have is from Carvana, actually. And they say how it's a simple way of saying how it works. Hey, if you use our web app or a mobile app to sell your car, or trade your car, or whatever it may be, they show simple steps on their website. Get your offer, trade in or sell, get paid. Wow, that sounds great. It's really simple, because there's a lot of pieces when it comes to buying and selling cars, but this is the process that happens, and it helps create a clear path forward for someone on the page. This is another example. It's way more simple, but it still helps create clarity. This one was from an online workshop. It says register for the workshop. You can watch it from home, and you get clarity and inspiration. And you can register now. It's a clear, just call to action, clear what they get. And it was during the this COVID kind of stay from home era, and it's oh, I can do this all from home, and I can still get the clarity and inspiration I need to help my business grow, which is really cool. Something else that you can add is big picture stuff. Why does this solving this problem matter? Maybe your product impacts the environment. Maybe your product impacts mental health. Think about those things, what does your product stand for, and how does it help make a difference? It's another way to tend to gain trust with people. It's another authority building piece. And then this other final element we always want to have across the landing page is a call to action. You don't want to have too many of them. What do you want them to do? You want them to download the app. You want them to become an early tester. Give them your email so you can contact them to start early testing. Or maybe it's a free resource. Maybe you're just trying to gain some attention, get some leads. Maybe you have a free guide on how to do something. Maybe it's access to a video on how to do something. What do you want them to do, and be clear about that. All right, so for this next section, we're going to talk about all those elements and how we can kind of bring them together. So I'm going to have Sam share his screen. All right, Sam.
All right, cool. Sorry for the wait there. Everything look good, Jacob? You see everything all right?
Yep, looks good to me.
Cool. All right, so for this example, we're going to walk through a wireframe. We're created a landing page for Squad Up, which if anybody had tuned in for some of the other discussions that we had last week from either Billy or Clint, they had used this example. So it's just kind of the common theme throughout these presentations. So Squad Up, just for context, if you aren't familiar, it's an app idea that we had to bring like recreational athletes together to play in leagues or pickup games. So that's some context around this. But basically, we're using Figma here to start wireframing our site, and we have these blocks that we're just starting to lay together just to feel out the space of where we want the content to be, roughly what we want to say, and roughly like the flow of the page. So there's a lot of like free wireframe like UI kits that you can download. This one we found on Figma Community, I believe, and we can share like links to that following this presentation. So this is an example of just kind of taking the wireframes and bringing it up to a higher fidelity. We're starting to add in some imagery, some design elements. We have color palette. We're starting to define like typography, adding in like logos or any other assets that we need to bring the website up to completion. So here you start to get a better feel of what this app is, what it can offer you. So yeah, and then throughout here, we're talking about Webflow, which we actively use. We're big advocates of Webflow with just kind of the flexibility and how accommodating it is to like basically any use case. There are other things like that we have to highlight Webflow is you can get started for free. It's just super easy to get started. It has a visual designer, so you don't need prior development experience. It also has a huge community and online resources, and ultimately you can just test ideas quickly. There are other options if Webflow isn't a good fit for you, so you can check out like Squarespace or MailChimp, WordPress or Carter, a few other examples. Step back there. So we're going to transition. Just wanted to call out, like, since we're not going to have the time to go through all the ins and out of Webflow, there is a lot there. I think it's just important to point to the Webflow University, which is that online platform that I was talking about. It has a bunch of really great resources to get started, kind of really unpacks everything. So if you don't have any experience, it's just like really simple, pretty entertaining videos that help you get started. It has structure, element basics, and some components and styling. So they really do have everything there. So actually jumping into Webflow, we start with a blank canvas, literally. And it is just like a click and drag editor, which can be intimidating to some people, but to some people, that's what kind of Webflow offers, all that flexibility. And it literally is just clicking and dragging sections and columns and divs, and then you can bring in like typography, for example. And as you can see over here in the navigator, as things are being built out, you can just follow like the nested trail of how things are built and move things around. You can do like copy and paste, which is pretty great. And then unpacking like where Webflow gets really powerful is when you start to apply like different classes, and those can be applied over here. So right now I just dropped in like an H1 heading, and you can edit all of them by selecting this tag, or you can just change like if I want to change the color of the heading, for example, to this green, it adds a unique class to it, which you can then rename and just add like a green tag. So then that will be carried through to every other heading or typography use case. If you apply this class to it, then it inherits that coloring. So the big thing with Webflow that they have, which is a fairly new feature that they released, is they have these things called pre-built layouts. And these are basically, and let me get rid of this stuff just for clarity. So they have like navigation, and they have different hero overlays. So they have all these built-in templates, but they have like all the flexibility that you'd want to be able to go in and just like click to type over anything, edit the text. You can apply those classes that we talked about just for any styling, change typography, add any imagery. And there's just like these really core blocks that you can really use to speed things up and build things out. So it just offers a ton of flexibility there. And within here, we have, different pages, obviously. And what I've done is gone through and taken the design for the squad up landing page and brought it in here. And I used those blocks that I just those pre-built blocks and just like customized them to fit like or this same styling as the landing page in Figma. So you can see super easy, and it also adjusts to different screen sizes. So you can click on these icons up here, and it gives you those different breakpoints to adjust for like desktop, tablet, or mobile. And it's just awesome. I love the way Webflow handles all the changes that you implement to it, and it'll cascade down to the smaller sizes, so you don't have to make changes on each breakpoint, but it's something that will cascade down through.
Yeah, Sam, how about scroll back up to the top? We'll just kind of do a brief walkthrough of like what we were thinking. This is an imaginary product, and we had a couple other presentations this week for Startup Week that we did wireframing of the product, we did even prototyping, and now this is like a landing page to sell. And so there's two type of users for this product, where there's people that are looking to play pickup games, so a singular user, but then there's people that like they manage teams and they manage a league, and they want to be able to find new players quickly. Like, oh, I can't make it this week. They need to know that quickly. So we kind of just like brainstormed, like, what are some pain points, imaginary pain points that they might have. We don't know that for sure unless we actually talk to some people that like run their own teams and stuff locally. But the first thing is, find new players when you need them. That might be like a really stressful part of their life, like going on Facebook messaging. Who knows if they're going on local forums or a website. Maybe they're using Instagram. I don't know how they're finding new people to hang out to play games, but having that pain point is the main focus that we think would work. So it's our assumption. So we help them discover and manage local athletes to play games. And the one thing too is we have a sense of authority with these community partners. Like this product's getting built in partnership with the YMCA and with these other like major organizations within the sports industry. And as you go down, it talks about, it's like spend less time managing, more time winning, stop wasting time on Facebook groups and emails and texts, sliding into DMs to find great players for your team. You deserve a tool that will help you focus on the game and less on managing people, and then sign up for early access. So we have different kind of ways for people to sign up. We have the button that's always at the top. We have the button in the header. We have the text here. So you'll slowly you can, with some cool tools, you can learn to see where people are clicking to. This next section is like some value props. Go back up a second, Sam. This better team management, simple communication, discovering your players. So it's kind of a basic overview of the benefits that the features offer, which is super cool. And just the idea of managing your games in one place is nice. You're not like having to post to like a community website or Facebook groups or whatever. Like everybody has access like in this one platform. And obviously ideally, like that's in a perfect scenario if we get enough types of both groups of users. Like obviously it takes two to tango with this app, but that's the ideal sell here. Find new players in your city, and like we're just showing examples of how kind of the app would look and feel. And then we have a testimonial of someone that's maybe using like the beta version of the app, or something like that, and just saying how it was difficult and annoying to do this before, but Squad Up helps me do this a lot easier. It's, it makes my life less stressful, and I can stay out of the DMs all the time and text messages. Again, we have a call to action. Having multiple call to actions on your landing page is really good. Get early access. Join early in the beta group to help us improve the power of Squad Up for you and your team. So some people might want to be a part of that and like share like, oh, I have this problem. I want to help make this really cool because I would love if this was real. And then this bottom section, the folks over at StoryBrand call it the junk drawer. But we also, you could have like a softer call to action that's maybe it's like a guide to building winning teams or something. You could have, to build up your newsletter, to maybe to get more leads there, the people that aren't ready to use the app, but they want to know like how you can help them. So that's another thing you can think about as well. But right here, for the most part, this landing page is just trying to get early users so they can get access to more customers, do more user research, and understand if this product can be more successful or not. So, all right.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, it's just great with how quick it is to go from Figma, the design tool, to actually building it in Webflow, and then you have the ability to push it to like your staging site, and then review it, send it around, get feedback, even get it in front of customers at that point without even like pushing it live to like your custom domain. And that's something that you can add later on. One other thing is there are templates within Webflow. So if you don't want to start with that blank canvas, there's some great resources out there just to get started. Some of them are free, some of them do cost money, but might be worth checking out.
Yeah, it's very similar to like how WordPress themes can be and stuff like that. But I think the cool part about Webflow is you can kind of like move components around and adjust it to how you want it to be specifically for you. So
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
And with the ability to assign classes, and then also they have components, so you can make your header a component, make a change in one place, cascade throughout every instance of that component. Awesome. With that, Jacob, I will hand it back to you.
Sounds good. Awesome. Everybody can see that? You good? We good, Sam?
Yep. Yeah, looks good.
Awesome. So this next section, I'm going to talk about testing. How do you have this like first landing page created? And what's cool with Webflow is like even in the free account, you get that staging site, and you actually can start sharing that with people. You can't like necessarily push a bunch of traffic to it or anything, but you can like meet with customers. So let's talk about like challenging your assumptions with your landing page. So the one thing that if you're going to do any kind of testing, getting the landing page in front of customers, like hop on a call, do a Zoom call, share your screen, or if you can do it in person, just asking them what they think about things. Keep it simple. You don't want to change a lot at once. You could, if your landing page is live and it's not just on staging with Webflow, and you're pushing ad traffic, you want to push half the ad traffic to one and half the other. Only test like 2 different headlines or 2 different types of images, because if you do too many, it's hard to get like clear results, because you don't want to send not enough traffic to one. It's like the idea of, I think there's a link I'll share about A/B testing, but they usually recommend at least like $1,000 or so to actually get a good understanding. If you're not talking to customers, a good understanding of like when you're pushing ads, like what one's going to perform better, because like it's not quite enough data to make a good enough assumption. But I'll share that link that talks about minimum kind of like testing. But the idea is like getting in front of customers and just seeing what resonates with people, and we can show an example of what that process can look like. So there's a product that we're actually helping create called Ditto, and we did some landing page testing. And this is an example of what the page ended up looking like. This is like just a full page screenshot. And as you can see, there's a lot of different elements happening here, with the clear message, join the waiting list. There's some testimonials, and it just kind of shows a lot of visuals, more testimonials, like what's kind of like the value proposition again, another testimonial, and then just join the waiting list again. So I'll kind of show you like how we ended up getting to this design for this specific product. So the first thing they did was testing visuals. So they had the same copy, but they tested, one was focused on outcome, and then the other one was focused more like on app screens, like, just to see like how people, what they thought about it. And so, it's like, why aren't we getting more conversions? What are our target customers' perceptions of these pages? So you have to talk to customers, ask them what they think the product does, what emotions or personal experiences are tied to that product perception. You want to, like I said, keep it simple so you can get more clear results when you talk to customers. So our team did some research and met with people. They took a bunch of notes and laid it out, and then they kind of looked for patterns and to create this synthesis of what to do next. And here's some of the questions that that you can ask people when you get on a call with them, and get the page in front of them. Like, just asking them, what do you think this is? What do you think it does? Because sometimes, like, you think, oh yeah, it does this because you're explaining it because you made it. You're like, you're close to it, it's close to you. But a lot of people like may think way differently about it. Word choice can heavily impact like how people perceive things. Like, what questions are coming to your mind as you're looking at this page? What hesitations do you have? How does this feel? How would you describe this? Now that you saw this page, how would you describe this to somebody else? What do you think it costs? Like, going back to the pricing, maybe you don't have pricing, just to see, and like, oh, I would pay $10 for that. I would pay $100 a month for that. I would pay $1,000, depending on if it's enterprise, or more consumer focused. And how would, if you had this in your life, how would your life be better? So that's another thing too, just thinking about like aspirations of like what this product can do, like what do people want in their life, and how is this product a part of that solution? So you can see, like, after all the interviews, like all the notes were kind of pushed over here to create this new design, and test out some ideas. And you're looking for patterns across the interviews to make changes. You're applying the key learnings from those patterns. And you just always want to aim for more clarity and confidence for the customer, so that they're not like, thinking that this product is something that you weren't intending for them to think. So hopefully this helps. Like, I think those questions, that list of questions is super helpful to just help people get more clarity, because you're just, your assumption is that you're already clear, but you might not be clear enough still. So some tools and resources to help you kind of get deeper insights and inspiration. There's a really cool community, and it's a website right now called swipefiles.co. So Swipefile is like, it's actually this idea of like sources of inspiration. Like, we actually have a swipe file that we keep in our Notion for the team at Headway for like marketing stuff. But Corey created this awesome website called swipefiles.co, and it has a lot of cool inspiration for like landing pages, emails, a bunch of different types of marketing campaigns. So you can kind of see what other people are doing. And he does like breakdowns, like full breakdowns of like each section of the page and why he thinks it's great, which is really, really cool. Another great book for like just understanding like the different elements like that we talked about in the beginning, to make your landing pages better and stronger, is Building a Story Brand. It's a really, really great book to read. I recommend it. They also have a workshop that you can go through. And then I was talking about that testing guide, the A/B testing guide. VWO.com is a great one. I'll be sharing a link after this event with information on where that URL is. You can go right to the article that I was talking about. And then another one is data. Like, how are you tracking like these results besides from taking notes in Miro or Notion or wherever it may be? Hotjar creates heat maps, so you can see where people are clicking, like which call to action are they clicking on, and you can kind of see which ones perform better. Google Analytics can just give you some basic information. You can use Google Tag Manager to help increase that. And then that's a whole nother world of like data tracking though. And then Full Story is also another kind of cool tool to track how people navigate your site as well. So yeah. And I think now we're to questions. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And now we're at questions. So if anybody has any questions, we're happy to answer them in the Q&A panel. Otherwise, just throw them in the chat too. Otherwise, we'll wrap it up if nobody has any questions. All right. Oh, so Ben asks, is a landing page just a part of your website? It can be, yeah. So like for Headway, we have different landing pages we call them landing pages within our site. But a landing page is usually just a specific page that someone is going to. So for example, like on our website, if someone goes to our free consultation page, we have that page laid out in a way that has some of these like elements that we were talking about to get people to schedule a call with our team. So a landing page can be its own unique website. Maybe it's like its own URL, and it's like that's just one page, and its only mission is to do something. But a landing page can exist within your current website. So say you already have a site with a bunch of pages within your company, you can create landing pages within your domain. Or if you want to be unique, you could just create like a kind of a fun URL that just like is very easy to understand and to type in and go to, that people can like that. For example, like people on podcasts, they might be like, hey, go to this website, and it's like a fun named URL because people can't click a link in a podcast. So that's another way to use landing pages, or to send people traffic or send traffic to a landing page from something like a podcast. Yes, exactly, Ben. Yeah. So mycompany.com/whatever your landing page is, or a full URL. It's like specific to that, that too. And you could always or do a redirect if you wanted to in the future too. But yeah. All right. Nicholas has a question. Have you ever done integration between Webflow and React, like with React components? Any advice on that? So Sam, I don't know if you have any experience with the development team on that.
We haven't as of this date, so I wouldn't be able to speak on that right now. So sorry about that. I would definitely check out like I said, Webflow University, and see if there's any like specific resources on that. I wouldn't be surprised if there is something.
Yeah, awesome. Oh, someone was asking about marketing tools for analytics, but I answered that already over on YouTube. Ben asks, what do you use on the back end to capture the data on the form they fill out, like database, or does it come in an email? So you can use basically almost any email tool. So like MailChimp, or we use HubSpot. So we have HubSpot integrated across all the forms on our site. So I don't know if everyone's familiar with HubSpot or not, but it's a marketing and sales tool. You can start free, but it gets pretty expensive with the capabilities. It's got like automated email flows and stuff like that, and sales pipelines and stuff. And you can do social scheduling. It's a kind of all-in-one tool. But on the back end, yeah, you can send stuff from Webflow to like Google Sheets and stuff like that. There's some pretty crazy stuff you can do. Like for example, like with Ditto, so for the Ditto app, it's about improving relationships. So they actually created a cool quiz that like Clint and Ryan worked on creating a really cool quiz to get leads. So it's like, hey, like Sam, do you remember what the quiz was specifically? I'm trying to remember.
It's just like a relationship health score.
Yeah,
quiz.
like how's your relationship going? Yeah. And it asked like 10 questions, and then it gave you a score, and it actually sent you to a landing page. So they integrated Typeform, so you can use Typeform. That's another database, I guess, tool. So they integrated Typeform into the page as a quiz, and then they sync that up with Google Sheets to create a score, and then like it would like pump out the score on the page. It's pretty cool. Sam and I are actually going to learn how he did that. Like they just did it last week, but there's a lot of cool stuff you can do. We'll for sure like be sharing some cool links in the follow-up of this event. Just any resources that are related to that, we'll definitely try to share.
Yeah, so definitely.
Hopefully that answers your question, Ben. Chad asks, does Webflow allow you to insert JavaScript?
Yeah. There's like full custom. You can do full custom code within Webflow. We work with Eric on our team that helped us fine-tune a few things that way. So
yeah, there's a lot of great stuff like with JavaScript integration. I'm pretty sure like in the Webflow University, I'm pretty sure there's some stuff on like how you can customize things. Ben asks, what do you use on the back end to capture the data? Oh wait, that's the second question. Yes, I'm trying to be better. I just figured out the pieces. Got it. Yeah, if you're doing like a photography landing page, like just trying to get more shoots scheduled, I think it would be HubSpot. You might be able to get away with using the free HubSpot actually to send like automated emails, but MailChimp you could too. There's a lot of other cool like email tools like ConvertKit and stuff. They'll all work with Webflow. You can integrate with them with Webflow. So I think a lot of it's just like getting the right value prop on your site. Maybe it's like a free guide to start getting those conversations going. Like, hey, a guide for getting ready for your engagement photo session, or I'm not sure who your specific customer is. But if you can create like a PDF, like you can use a Canva to create like really cool guides and PDFs. Like Canva is a free tool, and you can create cool guides like in little ebooks in there for free, and you can do those as downloadable resources either through HubSpot or through Webflow. You'll be able to share those things with people. So yeah, no problem, Ben. Happy to help. Awesome. Is there any more questions? Otherwise, I think we can wrap it up. It was a good conversation. Awesome. I think we'll wrap it up. Thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. There's one more event tomorrow on building like no-code apps, like using no-code tools for building apps. Here, I'll share that link here to the events we have coming up in the message here. So be sure to check that out. Andrew's going to be talking tomorrow evening about no-code tools. Is it right for you? What can you do? What's available out there? And just super excited to keep going for Startup Week. Startup Week goes till Wednesday in Wisconsin. I can share the link to the Startup Week schedule as well. There's a bunch of other things going on. I'm pretty sure. Oh, what's that guy's name? The comedian from Wisconsin that does Charlie. What's his name? Charlie Barrett. Is that his name? I can't remember.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah.
The Man Talk Minute guy. Yeah.
Yes. The Man Talk Minute guy is doing a cool show, like a live Zoom show for the startup community. I think it's like Wednesday night. So be sure to check that out, everybody. Yeah, and if anybody has any questions, yeah, feel free to follow up with me, Jacob at headway.io, or you can go to our site, connect with us on social. But thanks for being here, and everyone take care.